Alright.
Though the Maquis commanders had ordered Grayson not to destroy the Bond facility, Grayson knew all along that he would not obey. His time in solitary confinement, the death of his brother, his weeks on death row, all of this had made him bitter towards any military authority, even the Maquis. Destroying the Chimera was all that mattered to Grayson.
Alright. Next mission briefing then. Stay with. I fought alongside Mallery back in Rotterdam. He's a hardened soldier. But Bouchard's capture scared the living hell out of him, and he hightailed it to safety. I can relate to that kind of fear. The night I found my brother will haunt me for the rest of my life. What I can't understand is why Mallery just abandoned Reine. When I found Johnny, I stuck around and did what needed doing. When Mallery chose flight, I chose fight.
In case you're wondering, the trophies are related to the chapter that just ended. They just get unlocked when I start the next one. So
basically, Mallery is a fucking coward, and
yeah. Get it? Because he's French.
I wonder if maybe there'll be a big reveal that Mallery comes back.
You asked this previous question, the previous part, and you'll see.
Oh God!
That's where I am. Move your arms. Do something so I can see.
Do the YMCA, even though that doesn't exist yet.
Where are you?
Yeah, not. Oh, there we go.
I found you. I'm right above you.
Whee!
Stay alive.
Bye.
That's the thing, though, Joe.
Oh,
in this universe, that song's never going to exist.
This is the worst. Don't worry about this as another tip. This is the worst German water park ever. Holy shit!
I know. Like the slide looks fun, but it pulls you away at just the wrong moment.
Anyway, like I said, the ogre works just like the one of the say Resistance 2. But it's not as as precise and effective as the one of 3. It's much more effective because for one reason or another you always will see the enemy on screen, so the enemy cannot really hide behind a wall or something. So a good tactic would be to get behind a cover and start shooting from there. It's actually very effective. So again, leave it to Ben Studios this early in the franchise to make possibly the worst weapon, the most underused potential weapon of the first game, to actually make it effective.
That's nice.
Like I said, for as much as it seems like a little bit of a little thing, I am, impressed in how they seem to understand a bit better the franchise in what to do with it, at least on a gameplay level. I mean, at this point, like I said, I still think Resistance 3 is the ideal go-to standard of the gameplay that this franchise should have by this point.
That's fair, I mean, granted, as far as we've gotten in here, I think, like, the one thing we haven't gotten to see clearly is just to what extent they can handle boss fights. Like, we've seen, like, one that's technically more of a mini-boss fight. I don't think we've seen really a big main boss fight yet, though.
Oh, don't worry. I think there is gonna be one by the end of this part. Mostly because, it's still... Again, this part is dedicated to this conversion facility in Bonn.
I will give this story credit, though. So far, this is the most connected all the characters I've felt in a Resistance game. I mean, granted, Grayson is a bit dodgy, to put the least, but to be fair, at least I do feel like, in a sense, he bounces off well enough with this cast of characters to at least keep the player engaged, whereas...
You know what he also doesn't do? Mentioned about how he misses his brother every 5 seconds.
True, yeah, I mean, for as much as his brother's death did motivate him, he doesn't whinge and moan about it 24/7.
He channels that mostly into revenge and hatred towards the Chimera and, scorn towards the military who, could not prevent that. Again, he's a piece of work, but there is a degree of understanding. Oh boy, this... Let's have some cutscene incompetence instead for a change.
Don't worry, I'm getting you out of there.
Don't shoot! Hey, you should have shooting at you,
Grayson, I would like to remind you, when you have a backpack full of explosives, you don't want to use those.
I guess, to be fair, he's afraid...
a very attack should work.
Oh! And there are Chimera inside the tubes.
Yeah, remember the fuckers we can insta-kill you in Resistance 2, which means we'll have to actually deal with those.
You know, I have to wonder, what were the Chimera thinking when they made this system? Before we transform humans, we'll give them the ride of their lives on our water slide wonderland!
To be fair, this was something that was showcased in the conversion center level of the first Resistance game, you know, Hollow Man. It's just that in here it seems to be more detailed. Anyway, yes, we're having underwater levels indeed with this.
Are we shooting underwater?
Yes, we can not all weapons work underwater, mostly the energy ones, but
Okay.
yes, you can do it.
Okay, I'll give him credit
It's just
for that.
again, remember, because of this, Grayson is getting soaked to the bone with this, but his radio will still work just fine.
And I guess he doesn't really need to breathe. Also, he was walking underwater. Oh wait, no, I guess the water drained there.
Yeah.
But still, though, like, I mean, I guess he doesn't need to breathe because I don't notice an air meter.
No, very easy. You're gonna notice in a second.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's just a bit. There is a bit of a JPEG artifact, possibly because of the emulation, but you know, otherwise it works.
Gotta give him
Considering
credit.
how... No.
Gotta give him credit. He works well against the water pressure to be able to work with those levers.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's just
Right, we
built
need to do some degree of you know, water temple puzzle of raising and lowering water, but it's nothing too problematic. And yes, now we actually have to fight the water chimera instead of letting those insta-kill us.
On the one hand, I guess at least now you can fight them at all. Which is
They're a bit cumbersome because they move faster when you use that sonic attack. So stay close to them and try to bombard them with the bullseye, you know, substitute.
You know, carrying
We give you a moment, I need to breathe.
You know, carrying around these chimeras must have been a chore for the land dwellers. Do we really have to bring around the merfolk with us too? They require like dozens of gallons of water just to bring to space. For all we know, this planet Earth won't even have water on it.
There we go.
Then when they get on Earth, okay, so it turned out to be a good thing we did bring them, but still.
Alright, now let's get up here. You know, unless the hybrid shoots me. There you go. Fuck.
Yeah, right, I'm up. Oh shit.
These guys have no etiquette for a fellow enemy.
At the very least, that's what also the Ogre Shield actually comes into a good play.
Very nice.
Oh, you can shoot through that.
Yeah, again, remember, the Ogre can actually shoot through cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of its stronger points and gives it an identity, let's just say. Anyway, more of the merfolk kind. Oh, check this quote.
Fish tonight.
Finding Nemo did that quote better.
And yes, you can definitely shoot them from the surface, so if you have patience and you don't want to let them attack you, you can do that. Anyway, go on, Pedro.
Considering how, from what I've looked into, this game is still not feasible completely on PSP, I can imagine that that this is one of the hardest games of the PSP to emulate, apparently.
What do you think makes it so hard to?
Well, the fact that it probably, again, for the same reason MGS4 is difficult. It's probably coded in a very specific way and is very demanding on the hardware.
Okay.
God.
I recall that the PS3 had that issue. I don't recall the PSP being as infamous
It's
for
a
that.
coin toss. A lot of games.
I'm not talking about the console. I'm talking about this specific game. Because if the game has spaghetti code, it becomes very difficult.
A lot of games on the PSP Java are very easy to emulate, mostly because they're sprite-based or they contain limited amount of polygons. If they are instead, you know, more complex like this one, you know, that's when, you know, potential glitches start to crop up, like textures not loading, or, you know, event scripting not happening, you know, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Just follow the flow. Ow. And yeah, I basically survived through the skin of my teeth with this.
Water levels.
Again, this is not a water temple from Ocarina of Time, so don't worry about that.
Of course not. We don't have iron boots to weigh us down.
Sir, those ships are bigger than Buckingham Palace, and they're building
But the,
hundreds
you know,
more.
I may overall
Yeah,
prefer.
that's
Not operational just yet.
this is something. In the meantime, Cartwright, as you should know from the briefing, is somewhere completely different at your location. You know, far from Boone. I'll mention in a second. Sorry, reverse this cutscene.
Return to the LZ. We are leaving
Oh fuck,
immediately.
Mallery.
Affirmative, sir.
Mallery, come in. Don't leave without us.
And he doesn't respond. Yeah. Don't worry about the cutscene presenting this level as gigantic. It's actually far simpler when it looks.
Bloody hell, how do I get through that thing?
Well, put on your thinking caps and just go with it.
Alright, remember, this is set in between Resistance 1 and 2. The place where, we will actually go there in one of the future levels, so don't worry about that. But the place where Cartwright currently is, the thing that he's discovering, his men are discovering, you will hear through the radio communication, and eventually, like I said, you'll get to see for yourself, is that the Chimeras are actually building the ships that they will use to traverse the ocean and invade the United States. Like I said, it's a conjunct operation because when Hale is in San Francisco, he sees them arriving from the bay, which means they went, from the Pacific Oceans, but instead here they're being in Europe to traverse the Atlantic instead. So it's a bit of a conjunct operation where they invade. In fact, if I recall correctly, because I only skimmed briefly through its plot, Burning Skies is set during the early days of invasion in New York instead. So there you go. If I recall correctly, it is referenced in the initial, cutscene of 3 when it comes to the invasion of America. There you go. More drones.
Well, whoever the Chimera are, they certainly do not skimp out on the tech. Which makes me wonder.
Which is... Yes, go on.
Since the hybrids are clearly the smarter ones, I guess I have to wonder, where did the first hybrids come from?
Well, you have to remember what the cutscene was presented at the beginning of 3 about the evolution from the Tunguska event. The idea that the first people who got infected became not hybrid, but the lower caste. The ones that regulated the conversion centers. They started kidnapping people, forcing them into them, and that's where the first couple of hybrids came from. So they could start, challenge properly even the military complex. And since the Russian government was in a bit of disarray back then, they had a bit of an easy going from which they escalated.
That would be interesting if it turns out that the original Chimera who, caused the Tunguskan event, essentially, were just a primitive race in like a comet or something, but then, when the hybrids were made, that's when they started to go, okay, let's try making some war crimes.
It might be a possibility, but remember, Banikov's journey in 3 theorizes that instead the Chimera, the pure Chimera, are much more, intelligent and technologically advanced, and the meteor was a sort of a desperation move, which again begs the question: why would they do that? Are they afraid? Are they running away from something? We at this point we actually do not know.
I'm just wondering what Chimera budget meetings look like.
I don't know.
It could be that classic case of, their homeworld died, so they want to terraform Earth for their own purposes.
It's kind of a bit similar to how the Gears 2 and 3, bothered to establish the idea that the locust moving was actually a symptom of I keep forgetting, the yellow fuel, infecting them.
Yes.
So So they probably wanted to do something similar, but again, so far we won't know. Great, more drones. Like I said, don't think that they make this look easy, just because you see that, because a lot of, like I said, a couple of jump cuts are there just for avoiding the parts where I died. Like I said, it's not as super hard like the first game, but it's not as balanced as 3 argue. There is still a bit of dickishness typical of the time, but I think it's technically more fine. Again, it also helps that this retains the weapon wheel, and it's, with the control scheme based around the DualShock, you can easily, access your weapon in, with ease, without having to work too much on them. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Let's see it.
Alright, time to swim some more. If I recall correctly. I know, I just need to get in the tube.
We've reinforced the fortress defenses, but the facility's old and won't withstand much of an assault.
Yeah, well, so what, if I so much as like knock on the wall and bits it'll fall off.
Yeah, huffing and puffing and blowing away.
Some gameplay-wise, that means there's some. Oh,
it's
thanks for
it's
that.
just telling you what Cartwright and Parker are doing.
Cool.
Must be the power core of the whole bloody place.
Oh, you
Never
missed a
seen one
line,
this
mate.
big before.
Yeah, that's
Like
weird.
all
It
TNT.
glitched out, Sonic Adventure 2 style. Anyway, but yeah, that's what Grayson said. If we manage to blow that thing up, we should be able to at least stop the flux temporarily and get close to where Bouchard is. Hopefully
God,
before
yeah,
she gets infected.
Yeah, if this game were made 10 years earlier, this guy's stereotyping would be off the bloody rails.
Hopefully not.
That makes me shudder a bit. I'm just glad the PS1 couldn't. I'm just glad the PS1 wouldn't have been able to have that much voice acting in it. Otherwise,
I mean,
to be fair, we had stuff like Metal Gear Solid, so
and that was
I
fun.
think it was no, not just that, Joe. I'm saying in terms of quantity of voice acting, there was a lot in it.
True. Yeah.
No, if anything, I'm trying to ponder a bit, but
Who gets the first dance?
yeah, this is
I thought that was the Chimera talking for a second.
no. In case you're wondering about the location-based damage, the presence of the boilers obviously means that headshots are a thing, even on regular hybrids that you can score.
Oh.
It's a bit hard because of the spread of the weapon, especially with stuff like the carbine, but it is doable. However, unfortunately, we kind of lose the actual damage onto the coolant system that they have on the back, unfortunately.
So those floating enemies, I guess, were like evolved boilers.
Yeah, a different variety of boilers. Like you said, the enemies are mostly based around the ones of Resistance Fall of Man, the first, plus a couple of new ones. Not that many, but a respectable amount.
Help the game stand out on its own.
Again, this is the perfect idea of a spin-off, while still managing to transform new ideas while having what the formula of the first game did. It's done in a kind of a cozy kind of way when you get down to it, and it manages to not have too many risks while still trying to be appeasing towards those who liked the first game.
It's kind of like what all those Resident Evil spin-offs did whenever they introduced yet another new variant of the Tyrant.
Also, yes, such memorable, and well-liked spin-off like Resident Evil Survivor on the PS1.
Or Resident Evil Gun Survivor 2.
Fun fact, the PS2 game, Dead Aim, was actually done by Team Caviar, the guys who did Drakengard and Nier. But as far as I know, Yoko Taro was not involved with that.
Interesting.
I can tell because Dead Aim is just okay. It's not really anything particularly special. Anyway, yes, the strategy to actually deal with the core before planting the explosive, shoot it until it dies.
But of
I mean,
course.
it fits for the character of Grayson, so... Still, Glibs, you kind of need to stop making these writing decisions.
Hey, I'll have you know, this bit was rewritten. You should have heard my original idea.
What?
He shoots them all while he calls them childish, immature names.
If anything, it kind of does remind me a bit of a Master Control program boss fight, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Seriously, I had such singers as Die Squidward, die!
Yeah, he did say I'm having fish
unfortunately-
tonight. He could have said I'm having squid next.
Nah, I already wrote that bit earlier. Yeah, they twisted it around. Kept that bit, but didn't keep the Squidward bit. I worked hard on that line. I thought of that line for a full minute.
Wow.
That's how much effort I put in.
Come on.
Do you have a grenade?
Unfortunately, we didn't seem to do that much more damage, so I might as well just keep shooting. Alright, it stopped enough, so let's set up as the bomb. Oops, I think someone is shooting at me still. Grayson, you wanna move?
No. You see, this is how he learned to stop hating and love the bomb.
There we go. Thankfully, that means the level is over.
Wonderful.
At least this section.
Should be more than enough time.
Sure would be a shame if something hindered you. Oh, yeah, just jump into the abyss.
Whee!
It'll be A-okay.
In the
Hashtag
lower levels
YOLO.
of the facility, Grayson had to endure crushing pressure and intense
Crushing
excitement
pressure, yeah, he probably got
as he
crushed when he hit the
searched for Reine
ground.
Bouchard.
Don't know
To
when.
reach the lower depths,
Don't know
he had
when.
just to follow the network of structures that controlled the water flow, the millions of gallons per minute siphoned from the diverted Reine, which poured through the maze of underground tubing like blood through a vast steel embryo.
I mean, it's good descriptive, I suppose.
What a lovely thought. Right, next briefing.
Go on.
This complex is so deep, I'm beginning to wonder if it has a bottom, or if it's just a long descent into hell. Finding the power core took longer than expected, and the lost time may cost Bouchard her life. If that's true, I don't regret my choice. Destroying this place was always my primary objective. Helping the Maquis was a distant second. If Reine dies here, hell, even if I die, it would have been worth it just to kill some more Chimera. Mate, instead of writing this blog, maybe you should dedicate more time to finding Bouchard instead of just, bragging.
I'm guessing that these logs are in his mind.
I'm on the lower level. I should be close. Just hold on.
It's weird because despite what he writes in the log, he seems to be concerned for Bouchard still.
Better be waiting.
Is this all Bouchard's gonna do? Just be kidnapped by the...
No, the entire point is actually to rescue her. Don't worry, by the time we're done, she's gonna be fine. Again, the important part is to see if we manage to get her before she's infected or not.
I mean, she's been captured. Again, it happens to allies in this or whatnot. Just because an ally is captured doesn't, mean that, oh, they are nothing but a damsel or whatnot, essentially.
Some form of methodology, now it's done with. Anyway, more drones. Hooray.
Boy.
Were they just waiting until I lowered the water?
Yes.
They're that nice.
And they were probably so happy that the
Alright, let's
opportunity
do an ambush
came.
on my own. Taste that. There you go.
Ah, abuse.
Like I said, the charge shot of the bullseye, substitute actually works wonders with groups of enemies. It kind of counts as a mini grenade when you get down.
Does it? Does it backfire on you if you hold it down too long?
Doesn't seem to be. So again, I haven't tested to keep it to hold it that much, but so far it hasn't done anything of the sort.
Careful though, you're a bit low on health.
Well, Tia.
Fine.
Well, earlier on, Tia was literally down for literally one shot before death.
Ugh, not a good look, ladies.
It basically mentioned because of either a boil actually moved from left to right. I just caught it immediately.
That blast literally sent her flying.
Yes.
That's the first time I've ever seen a headshot send someone literally straight up into the air.
Ragdoll physics, how do they work? Like I said, the way the health system here works is that similar to the first game, but you don't regenerate the quarters that you do have. So you do need to make every single Simbank tank that you find count. So if anything, it's a bit more challenging that way.
You guys again?
I mean, what are you expecting, Grayson?
Does anything happen if you shoot those things on their back?
Like I said, with the location-based damage in this game, unfortunately, it doesn't do much on the coolant system, unfortunately, because they did in the other games, but because of limited technology, it basically works well only for headshots. Again, concessions, I can understand even if it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, for a second there I thought the music was skipping.
Tries to be mysterious, at least.
Again, I have to give credit to each track. Each track manages to be the right amount of engaging for me to at least be able to remember them.
It also helped with the PSP had a very good sound chip in order to actually, reproduce audio. So usually it meant that games could have very high quality, music and uncompressed voice acting, which is very welcome.
UMDs were UMDs had quite a lot of data and data space in them, surprisingly enough. I mean, how round here, I don't know about elsewhere, but at least around here, we had some UMD movies and TV shows.
Yeah, so something like that did came in my country, but mostly movies rather than TV series. It was just a matter that did not caught on because people did not want to spend money for UMDs just to see movies. If it had to be, they would make this movie just for the games.
So, the closest I got to that was downloading a trailer for Spider-Man 2.
And then, with the advent of, proper piracy, that meant that you could just put like an MP4 file, or a, .avi file, and it could ideally work to watch something, as long as you had a decent, memory card. Like I said, for a long while, the PSP became basically my MP3 player. I could basically listen to a fuck ton of music that I wanted. When I started using a smartphone, I basically migrated the playlist that I had there onto that.
I will say, maybe it's due to some of the upscaling that comes with this having, being played on something like a PS4 or whatnot, but the looks of this game, it could arguably pass for a relatively early PS3 title, I feel.
I would say still, late PS2 game, because
Possibly,
it reminds me more of that.
To me, I guess it feels somewhere in between to the point where, yeah, I could see that some could say it looks on
It's
par with
mostly
a PS3
because the
title.
characters do not have much of in terms of facial animations. That's that.
That
There
is
is
true,
decent.
yeah.
There are decent animation when it comes to body movement and and expression during cutscene, but the faces tend to be a bit not plasticky, but just static. Sometimes the mouth moves decently, but otherwise it's not as much as you would get even in early titles of the PS3. Hell, again, arguably some games late on the PS2 cycle could replicate that easily. Again, even early on, like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, when we actually saw them.
I know there were. I think it was later on in the PS2 cycle that the games started to be made in widescreen.
I think
Again,
so.
not that many though.
You have to remember, Graves, that there was also the well, okay, that was more the German TB kind of problem was mostly limiting about the performance. I'm not sure if it also included about the screen size.
Yeah, like we only started getting widescreen stuff on the regular since around the late 90s.
Uh-oh, I think some boilers leaked behind me and I didn't even realize that. Alright, next area.
Boiler.
Thankfully they self-destruct to destroy the grass, but they have to still deal with the Titan. Again, another concession that you may have noticed in order to, create, a bit more, space for the level is that a couple of environments tend to be slightly copied and pasted. Always, it gets a little confusing. But, again, it's understandable for a game done for a system like this. Yeah, I thought I could cheese it, but no. Again, thankfully the Titans don't seem to be super spongy in this game, so I can still deal with them fairly enough. Again, though, Grayson, it would be appreciated if you move your legs a bit faster. Alright, good news is that we're finally reaching Bouchard.
Alright then.
The bad news.
We're actually very close. Well, we can't just, get there willy-willy, can't we?
What the hell? Damn it, no. Not her.
James, get me out of here! Help me!
I'm getting there, don't worry.
It's not like there's a time limit game-wise.
Thankfully, no. Again, despite everything, this is not really an escort mission or you have to watch out until, Bouchard potentially drowns or something. No, thankfully we're spared from that.
Boom, headshot.
Literally. Again, it's the only way to actually deal with them.
Open this panel from inside.
Oh, great, more.
There's always room for more.
They're not jello.
I love how even when their heads are blown off, they still walk like a few inches.
That's a nice detail.
Again, it's supposed to represent a slightly more realistic, reaction. The idea that it's so sudden that the body still has a sparkle of a movement left before it gives up.
I saw something like that and saw the video game as well. When one of the NPCs gets shot by the shotgun collar, they still struggle for a bit before the other one just gives up.
Again, the definition of Dead Space, the games also have something like that going forward, so... Maybe when I record them, maybe I will have like a compilation of, the way Isaacs can die, because the Visceral back then clearly went into a bit of above and beyond in showcasing how, you have the death animations. Okay, is there anyone else that needs to actually get that out of their system? No? Good.
All is well now.
Well, let's get to Bouchard first, just to, you know, ascertain ourselves.
Sorry! It's their turn now.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I guess it's meant to be intimidating, but their walk cycles are just.
What do they want me for?
A bit similar to praying mantis waves. So.
Yeah.
Again, at the end of the day, you have to treat the Chimera invasion kind of a bit similar to how the zombie, you know, plague will actually do. There we go. All right. In this particular section,
I've got this. You need to.
yeah, in this particular section, Bouchard needs to recover, so you know Grayson will need to hold the fort. But again, don't worry. As soon as she gets up, she can actually start, you know, killing chimeras as well on her own.
They're gone. Lost. It sure saved his arse.
Again, French.
Hilarious that you know, on the same console, you know, later on, I think I forgot which year was released, but you have instead a game that it's all about, you know, French history and trying to, you know, be more generous to them and instead painting the British as the bad guys.
I know, but they make up for that with other ones. Like the British, they either talk like they're posh or rough Cockney. The French surrender. I mean, what's next? Are we going to have a Portuguese guy saying, "Leave me alone, I'm working hard"?
That's not what I was mentioning, Liz, but sure.
But
All
yeah.
right.
James, you saved my life. Oh my god, I almost died. I thought I'd never see my father again.
We don't have much time. Molly, come in. I'm bringing Bouchard up now. Have medics ready.
What have you done to her? I'll have you court-martialed.
Oh my god.
Ah,
Seriously?
he literally saved her, my
We,
dude.
unfortunately, we cannot leave just immediately.
Stay here.
Is that him coming down to try and do the court martial?
No, we had got a sneak peek of him later. It's the angel of his place.
Oh.
So we have a boss fight against him.
Cool,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind someone trying to take basically the big scene from A Few Good Men and try and make that into a video game level.
I mean, I guess the only good equivalent would be, you know, Ace Attorney. So, but yeah, again, for this fight, the good news is that, you know, Bouchard is joining you for this, but you still need to watch out because she has an health bar, so make sure that you attract the attention of the angel, otherwise it will start attacking her, and, you know, she doesn't die in 2 hits, but, you know, she's not immortal either, so, again, try to focus the attention of the enemy onto yourself.
Anyway, like I was saying though, like, yeah, Grayson points out that Mallery turned tail, but to give him credit, it's not like he's pointing out it's because he's French or anything.
Don't worry, Joe, that's what the cutscene, the end cutscene of his level is for. You'll see in a second.
Yeah, I'll wait and see. But to be fair, up to this point, for as much as you guys have been saying because he's French, the game hasn't really gone to that point yet, as far as I know.
Alright, as far as the Angel's attack goes, it's basically kind of the same as the one in Fall of Man, as in the spine attacks tend to be a bit of an area, slightly similar to grenades. The only major difference is that though they were tended to be an endgame type of enemy, because, you know, Hale challenged them in the London Tower. One instead in here is still relatively early on, so it poses a bit more of a challenge, and that's why it's treated as more of a big boss fight.
And this is more of a regular angel as opposed to, you know, what
yeah, like I said, Daedalus was
was
kind of an exception into. Again, the Angels are still the commanding units, but they seem to not be, well, I mean, sentient. They don't seem to be at least interested in speaking to the humans. Again, maybe they would, but you know, they just don't do it.
Because they're just that cocky.
Or, you know, not interested. There we go.
Well done! You have done what most have struggled to do.
Got a headache.
Where's my equipment?
I didn't look for your gear. Was too busy trying to save your life.
Which, fair enough.
You didn't do anything stupid, did you? Where are your explosives?
Probably with your samples. We have to get out of here now. Stand back.
Oh boy.
That's how you open a door.
Just knock it a little bit.
What are you doing?
It's another one of the vehicle, but it seems...
Just found a way.
yeah, it's not utilized, so it's time to hijack
James,
another
wait.
vehicle.
Thank you for coming down here. To get me. I know how hard this is.
Yeah, okay, I will admit, one way you can tell this is an older game, the water textures had to be pretty much patched onto
Yeah.
a model.
They're literally glued on the skin and the tissue.
So can I.
And now you'll see just about how, you know, Bouchard will regret her words immediately. She mentioned that in French, in case you're wondering. Remember, Grayson did set up a bomb.
Grayson, no, you fool!
This is not
And
how
they all
widely
die.
it's- Grayson, you fool!
Will you come? Grayson, I need your help.
Come when I want to.
All right, we'll come. We'll be there in
Again,
2
Cartwright
hours.
is in a pinch.
Cartwright out.
Look, I know you're still angry, but we don't have time for this shit. Cartwright needs us to rendezvous
I
at the...
don't give a damn what Cartwright wants. Thanks to you, the carriers are leaving and they're not coming back. If we don't follow them now, we lose them.
Cartwright is arse over elbows. I don't like it any more than you do, but human lives are at stake.
You blew it up. Against my orders. And now we don't have a choice. Roland, are we
I
loaded
said I
up?
was sorry.
Molly, you tell her. Those are your people in Luxembourg. Her father. Come on, Molly, tell her. Stop that shit,
Roland, don't you think I know that? Luxembourg is going to fall. We cannot save them. We need to follow the carriers.
Wow, that's
and we need to do
very
it now.
nice of you.
I mean, we could at least try.
Yeah, like, I mean, what's wrong with just splitting up and trying that? Like,
I'm not
God, I can't believe I'm saying it. Grayson is the voice of reason here.
Yeah.
But don't forget.
Also, you're welcome for saving your life with that bomb, too, just
Firing
saying.
squad. By all accounts, we are even. We're taking the VTOL.
We don't have time to argue. We can radio Parker. She can send scouts out.
Really?
Piece of shit.
Oh god, they've gone rogue.
But you are right.
Well, no, if anything, they are still following the mission. It's just that, you know, Grayson will technically not be associated to them. Thankfully, they will not actually pursue the court martial stupid shit, but Grayson is on his own for the time being.
I will say it's kind of messed up that Mallery does kind of get away a bit with just abandoning us like
Don't
that.
worry, they're not out of the game yet.
Fair enough.
You were all ready for another court martial, right? There's been a delay is all. My transport's gone. I'm gonna have to find another way to get to you.
Oh,
Listen out.
they left
I
him that
mean,
at
we
least.
already technically have one.
Yeah, we got that there.
So, you will see in the next part, you know, how, you know, with one new vehicle section, how Grayson actually gets to Cartwright. So see you for that.
See you
See
then.
ya.